So Ryan, we talked the other week about Steph's legacy. If he gets the fourth ring, how many more can he get? All that. But there's a side to it we haven't discussed, and it's if he loses. And now he's 3-3 in the NBA Finals, and more importantly, he is 1-3 in the NBA Finals without Kevin Durant. And he's never won a Finals MVP. For the two finals with Kevin Durant, the majority of people would say he wasn't the best player on the team, and that Kevin Durant was. So if Steph goes to 3-3 in the NBA Finals after losing this Finals to the Boston Celtics, where is his legacy now?
I think it's in the same place. I know it's a boring answer, but I still think he's the second best point guard ever. And you can do the context thing. You can even just say that he's 1-3 without Kevin Durant. But in one of the series, he obviously didn't have Kevin Durant and didn't have Klay Thompson. And that was the final version of that Kevin Durant Warriors team that had sacrificed the most depth. And if you're going to, like that Warriors team, we saw, I think the next year, didn't even make the playoffs. I know Steph was hurt, but KD left. They still didn't have Klay Thompson. And without Steph, they weren't even close to a playoff team. They got the number 2 pick in the NBA draft and drafted James Wiseman, who we haven't seen touch a basketball at all, it seems like, in these 2 or 3 years since he's been drafted. The other one was obviously the 3-1 blown lead. And then this one would be one where, again, it's like Steph himself has put up some incredible numbers. I think he's averaging 31 points on 49, 49, and 83% from the free throw line, which is unbelievable splits. It's just not enough to get it done when he's got these guys next to him not performing. And we went through it when we were talking about what his legacy does mean. Is a lot of these great all-time point guards don't have a whole lot to their name. Now, I think Oscar Robertson has 1 title. Chris Paul obviously doesn't have any. John Stockton doesn't have any. Jason Kidd has 1, but much later in his career where he certainly wasn't the main guy on the team. Steve Nash doesn't have any rings. So you start to go through the list and you're saying, like, okay, who can we bump Steph below if he doesn't get this NBA championship? And there's really not a list. Like, sure, you can throw him below Isaiah Thomas if you wanted to. And then Steph and Isaiah are my 2 and 3, and Magic's already number 1. But for me, I think if he loses, he's still in the tier that he's in. And he's still in that tier even if he wins. So there's the guys who are like Kobe, MJ, LeBron, and Tracy McGrady just came out and said it. He said, Steph's not in the class of Kobe, MJ, and LeBron. And I don't think anybody thinks he really is, but I think he's in that tier below where you're going to look at a guy. I think he's probably better than Dwayne Wade, so maybe not that. I don't know. It's just a weird class with a Larry Bird. And I don't know that this title automatically makes him better than Larry Bird, and I don't know that if he lost, he'd automatically be worse than a guy like Larry Bird, Akeem Olajuwon, whoever you want to say. And I think whether he wins or loses this title in specific, he's still in that class. I think only winning more will obviously elevate him above. But I don't think losing this title necessarily knocks him down into that third tier with maybe a Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Garnett, somebody like that. Mm-hmm. So I think it's in that weird tier 2 where it's almost just him, honestly. But maybe not. There's probably a couple of.
It depends where other people are.
Tier 2.5, maybe.
Yeah, it's where people have their other, superstars in the similar realm. As far as the point guard situation, he's kind of pretty much set where he is right now. Argument of 2-3 all time in the point guard position. The shooting stuff, best shooter I've ever seen. All that stuff, that's great. It's the overall superstar career, and now we are looking at. You just named a lot of the guys, and that's more of if you're 4-2. And one of those losses is right. Hang on, are our numbers correct here?
He'd be 4-2 if he'd be 4-2 if he won.
Right.
Because he lost with KD, okay. Or he lost the KD team to the Raptors, and then he lost to the Cavs.
Right. So if you're 4-2, and one loss is an absolute travesty stolen by the NBA. And the other is an absolute travesty stolen by the health of your 2 other major superstars, because I fully believe that Warriors team, 100% healthy, I think beats the Raptors in 6 or 7. I'd like to have seen that play out, but KD wasn't and Clay wasn't. Clay went down as well, and it definitely.
In 19, absolutely.
Yeah, but
absolutely.
You look at the names of the list that he's trying to become a part of. You look at the accolades of a Magic Johnson, of a Larry Bird, of a Kobe Bryant, of a LeBron James, of a Tim Duncan. You look at the number of titles and MVPs, and in some cases changing the game, other cases just being great in their position. In 3, I don't know how you have him. I don't know how you have him above Larry. I don't know how you have him above Larry Bird. At 3-3, Bird was 3-2. So yeah, he went to the finals one more. And we're talking about 2 of the greatest shooters to ever do it. Bird didn't do it for as long, obviously. Man broke his back very early in his career, but still was one of the best to ever touch a basketball, ever step on a court. And for a guy like Curry, who has a bunch of years left, and he came out recently and said that he thinks he's in his prime right now, like the beginning of the peak time period, where he feels like he's got a bunch of years to still be in that peak. We'll see.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what?